Thank you for having me, Paul.
Great to be here. How are you?
Good, good, good. Excited to talk with you about my new company called Content Frontiers. It is a strategic communications company that is looking to really reshape and reframe the narrative on doing business in Africa through storytelling, market insights, as well as digital campaigns.
Let's talk about that narrative. I just came back from Africa a couple of days ago. When you talk to people, they don't see business interaction between Africa and the United States. There are a lot of initiatives that have been put in place by the U.S. government, but there is little on the ground when you talk to people.
Right. Well, we see this as an opportunity. The U.S. is a frontier for many African companies, and we're really looking to reshape the way that investors in the United States and business people see the continent as a business and investment destination. And what we found is that sometimes when you hear negative perceptions about the continent, it really makes you hesitate in terms of doing investment, and we seek to change that by highlighting and showcasing some of the business and investors that are doing well, that are making high returns, to see really the progress on the continent. And so that's why Content Frontiers was launched, and why we're looking to work with other mission companies and investors to showcase their work, and to also have particularly U.S. companies and investors see the continent as a place to do business.
So how do we demystify those fears, or how do we engage people who want to do business, especially from Africa, or investors here who want to go back to Africa? What is it that needs to be done for them to get to that point?
Absolutely. Well, it first starts by changing the visuals. So when we show the continent of Africa, the way that we communicate is that we are showcasing the Africa that people typically don't see. It's the skylines, it's those businesses that we just saw, like the e-commerce businesses that are innovative and finding new ways of doing business. These are all opportunities. The fact that there is a low e-commerce and connectivity, that is an opportunity. So reframing the narrative from looking at what's not there to the assets and the strength, and starting from that point. Not that you don't talk about the challenges, but the starting point should be the assets and the strength, and that's the approach that we're taking to communicating about the continent, because we want businesses and investors to see and understand the potential and the opportunities, and also to really highlight what is actually risk and to demystify some of those myths on risk. Because if you're in any type of investment, whether it's emerging market or even here in the US, you're always taking risk. So let's really have a reframing and to show the potential.
For investors interested in investing in Africa from the U.S. perspective, what opportunities are there in Africa?
There are so many opportunities in technology, as we just saw, in energy, as well as agri-tech. There's health tech. There's many opportunities that for businesses. In renewables, if we're looking at energy, there's renewables, there's solar, there's lots of growth opportunities, even in the creative industries. I think we're seeing lots of opportunities for new markets in the U.S. African filmmakers have a market in the U.S. We have the largest African diaspora in the world, and both historical and new immigrants, and that stay, that it's a true market, and we want to really highlight some of those opportunities. So engaging the diaspora is another key aspect, because there is a market in the U.S. and there is a market for U.S. products on the continent. So it's really two-way trade and investment is what we're focusing on.
So from, let's say, the African perspective, there is a lot of initiatives that have been initiated by the U.S. government, from the Africa Leaders Summit that happened last year, to Prosper Africa, to Africa Development Fund, so many to name. But how does an average person in Africa who wants to do business connect with these institutions?
Right. Well, I will say up until December, I worked with Prosper Africa, which is a presidential initiative to do increased two-way trade between Africa and the United States. And one of the first ways is through the Prosper Africa website at prosperafrica.gov. It is an entry point for both African business leaders as well as U.S. business leaders, but particularly for exporters. Through Prosper Africa and many of its platforms, they've been rolling out new platforms since the U.S. Africa Leader Summit that really gives opportunities for African exporters in particular to export into the U.S. market, and providing both services and advisory as well as some financing on how to export into the U.S. market. So there's a tremendous opportunity in the U.S. as well.